Hello and welcome to the France 24 interview. Our guest today is the Foreign Minister of Armenia, Zohrab Mnatsakanyan. He joins us from Yerevan, the capital of Armenia. Mr. Foreign Minister, thank you very much for being with us here on France 24.
Thank you very much for hosting me.
Mr. Foreign Minister, for the past week, violent clashes have occurred between Azerbaijan and your country, Armenia. The two countries have been at loggerheads for decades now over the fate of the Nagorno-Karabakh region. However, unlike in previous flare-ups, the latest round of violence has occurred far from this disputed region at the north of the border between the two countries. At least 16 people have lost their life, the worst death toll since 2016. We've seen a lull in the fighting for the past few days. Are you optimistic that the fighting is now over, or are you still concerned that it could resume very soon?
Well, thank you very much indeed. We had a situation over the past week. Indeed, on 12th July, we had an attempted aggression, attempted infiltration of the Armenian positions by the Azerbaijani armed forces across the Armenia-Azerbaijan border to the northeast of Armenia. This has been decisively thwarted. It has been followed subsequently by missile attacks at Armenian positions, also civilian infrastructure and the population. We have been decisive in our defense, and we have also been working very hard with our partners and with the OSCE Minsk Group co-chairmanship, comprising France, the United States, and Russia, in order to hold the hostilities and in order to restore the ceasefire. Now, what happened, in fact, is a material manifestation of the ongoing warmongering and hate-induced rhetoric that was very intense over the past weeks and months from Azerbaijan. And apparently, they have been testing the resolve and the capacities of Armenia far from Nagorno-Karabakh. And this was, of course, a very dangerous development. We have managed to calm the situation so far. Since Thursday, we have, again, through the engagement of the co-chairs, the Russian co-chairmanship, in strong coordination with the other partners, France and the United States, we have managed to restore ceasefire. This is, again, a shaky situation. So far, it is holding, and our intention is to make sure that we firmly restore ceasefire and, in fact, take further specific measures to reinforce the ceasefire regime and to deny any further challenge to the calm across the border and across the line of contact in Nagorno-Karabakh. And this is, of course, the very big priority that we have before us now.
Right. Azerbaijan says that you started the fighting. It has also threatened to strike the nuclear plant, the Metsamor nuclear plant, if you continue what they call your provocations. What's your response to that?
Well, on the first question, we have been quite insistent on establishing measures to reduce risks of escalation and to investigate ceasefire violations. We are very insistent on this. We are very insistent on further measures, including the expansion of monitoring, the establishment of direct line between on the ground, and those are the measures that will help us to control the ceasefire regime. So Azerbaijan has not been very forthcoming to accept those proposals and to establish such measures which would deny opportunities for further ceasefire violations. So once again, I'm calling upon them to come to reason and to accept those proposals and to work with us towards strengthening the ceasefire regime. So far as the threats to the nuclear power plant are concerned, I think this is a very vivid manifestation of irresponsibility, a threat to the broader region, a threat, in fact, to their own people. And I think this is very disturbing, and this demonstrates a crisis of reason, and I think it's very important that they come to their senses in Baku.
Who is responsible? I imagine you're pointing the finger at Azerbaijan's leader, Ilham Aliyev, who has publicly said a couple of weeks ago that the efforts to bring a peaceful solution were leading nowhere. Or are you also thinking that Turkey's President, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, might be the real reason for what happened at the border?
I would reiterate in very strong terms Armenia's full commitment to the strictly peaceful resolution of the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict. The war is not an option in this. The war is a total catastrophe for the entire region. Armenia is capable to defend, Nagorno-Karabakh is capable to defend, but war should be totally ruled out in this. We're fully committed to the peaceful resolution of the conflict in a way that meets the interests of Armenia and Nagorno-Karabakh in equal measure as it is expected for Azerbaijan. This is the compromise-based solution that we're working for, and we will continue to invest every effort in the peaceful settlement. This has been and remains the commitment of Armenia. So far as Turkey is concerned, this is particularly concerning because we have been observing a very destabilizing role of Turkey in its other neighborhoods, Eastern Mediterranean, North Africa, the Middle East. Now, what we are observing is an attempt to export this factor of instability in our region, in the South Caucasus. And this attempt has been also laced with a notion of historical mission of Turkey in the South Caucasus. Now, you understand that for Armenia, such historical mission revives very sad memories of the Armenian genocide at the beginning of last century. And of course, we receive this with serious concern. We also observe that the impunity for this atrocity against the Armenians is also a reason in which Turkey decisively claims any role in the South Caucasus.
Right. I'm going to ask you maybe very bluntly. You've mentioned the example of Turkey's role in Syria, in Libya. Are you concerned that Turkey could play a more direct role in this dispute with Azerbaijan, including militarily? Is this a concern, or you believe they're just talking, declaring their support?
There is no role for Turkey in this. The peaceful resolution concerns Armenia, Nagorno-Karabakh, and Azerbaijan, and we will continue to work closely in a very constructive manner with Azerbaijan on finding a solution together with Nagorno-Karabakh. We need to work on strengthening, instilling the very firm ceasefire regime. We have to denounce, we have to hear from Azerbaijan the firm denouncement of the threat or use of force. We need to work on an environment which helps progress, favors progress in the negotiations. We have to work on such balance of commitments that helps achieve a measurable compromise. It has to be a compromise-based solution. A maximalist position of Azerbaijan is not helpful in this. So we will continue to work for this purpose within the internationally agreed format of the OSCE Minsk Group co-chairmanship. We value very highly the role of the co-chairs, France, Russia, and the United States, and their contribution is very, very solid, and their commitment and engagement is very solid. And within this format, within this arrangement, we will continue to work for peace.
I'm going to repeat my question. Are you concerned about potential Turkish intervention, a more direct intervention in this conflict?
Obviously, we cannot be indifferent because this role is a role of instability. And of course, we cannot receive this indifferently. Of course, it's a matter of concern.
Right. You mentioned the Minsk group, but it hasn't worked. I mean, all those negotiations have led to nowhere. Why not rejuvenate this negotiation format and do something else? Why continue something that hasn't worked so far?
Well, I cannot agree that it hasn't been working. It has been working very effectively. It has been a very solid basis, a solid platform in which all the three countries, Russia, France, and the United States, have been working in a very engaging manner, and they have been very, it was a united good action on the part of the three countries. They continue to do a very important contribution to the peace process. I do consider this as a very positive role, and we do not see any reason why this should change.
Right. Just as a last question, do you think in order to break the impasse, a meeting between the leaders of both countries is something that would play a decisive role in calming the tensions?
We are committed to use every measure, every way of promoting the peace process. The meeting between the leaders is part of the process. It has been happening before, and it will happen again, I'm sure. But these meetings have to be prepared carefully so that we do strive and we do aim at establishing good foundation for progress. So there is a direct engagement of the foreign ministers who negotiate, and the foreign ministers prepare the work of the leaders. So we will continue to work in the most serious way towards achieving progress in negotiations. So the leaders' meeting will happen when we prepare the good grounds for this meeting to happen, so that we establish progress in negotiations.
Mr. Foreign Minister, that's all we have time for. I want to thank you very much for appearing here on France 24, and thank you very much for watching this interview.